Welcome to Sparrow Podcast. My name is Catherine and I'm your host for this podcast. Today we have a special guest here. She is Dr. Mira Succari. She is a clinical dietitian and has over 11 years of experience. And today we are going to approach a very interesting subject related on how nutrition can affect our emotions and mental well-being. Hi, Dr. Mira.
Hello, Catherine.
Thank you for accepting my invitation. Shukran jazilan.
My pleasure.
I would like to ask you, how is the day in the life of a clinical dietitian? How are you doing every day? What kind of people are approaching you?
So most of the people think that the clinical dietitian is only concerned for the weight loss, weight management, or weight gain. But actually, we are just doing more than this. We're also focused on preventing diseases. We are part of the treatment plan for certain diseases, such as the diabetic people, the kidney failure, for polycystic ovarian women, and much more. So yeah, it's not just about weight loss. And recently, it's also very popular, the aesthetic slimming. So dietitians are also being part of the aesthetic slimming, which is everything non-invasive or non-surgical weight loss procedures and body contouring procedures.
Okay, sounds like you have a vast and complex area to deal with.
Yes.
It's very interesting. But can you please tell me, how did you find your way to this path? How did you choose to become a clinical dietitian?
Well, I was a bit confused between going to do medicine or human nutrition. But since I come from Lebanon, and in Lebanon we're so much, influenced and concerned about how we look and how, our body shapes. And
Lebanese people are very beautiful, I need to say.
Yeah, thank you. So, and then it was something new, and it was very interesting how to relate the food to our body, not only shape, health-wise, So everything should start from inside to come outside the perfect
so you can
way.
Glow outside.
Yeah, so that was really interesting, and I wanted to go for it, and yeah.
Okay, nice. And what is your favorite part about your job?
You mean what's the favorite part I like to work with, or patients?
Yes.
First of all, I like to change people's lives. So whenever I get someone having any problem, especially obese people, they do have psychological sometimes problems because they're unhappy about the way they look, and most of them are being bullied in the society, unfortunately. So I feel so happy changing their lives, because their weight affects their life and
their self-confidence.
Of course. And the second part was oncology patients, cancer patients. Okay. I've been working for a couple of years in Lebanon purely with the oncology patients, the cancer patients, and these are very critical, area in the nutrition field, because you want to feed someone who is already exhausted from inside and kind of losing hope in life in general. Yes. So making these people achieve their goals and changing their psychological view about their situation is really, for me, it's one of the things I like to work.
That sounds really amazing. And I would like now to go further in our discussion. So usually when we think about nutrition, we tend to associate it directly with this physical health, with this physical aspect. And of course, nutrition plays a very important role in these categories. But what if we think about nutrition and its effects on how our brain works and how our emotion develop? So I know that serotonin, it's a neurotransmitter which is mainly formed in the gut, and I know that this plays an important role in our mood. So I would like to ask you to please give us some details about serotonin, how it is formed naturally, and what is the impact of this neurotransmitter on our mood.
Let's start with most of the people think that serotonin is mainly in our brains.
Yes.
You know that 90 to 95% of serotonin is made in the intestine, and the remaining 5 to 10% is made in the brain. Eventually, serotonin comes from an amino acid known as tryptophan. And this tryptophan is found in, we take it inside our bodies via the food we're eating.
Okay.
And it comes from meat, from dairy products, from eggs, also sometimes from nuts. So what we eat, if we're eating the basic unit for forming the serotonin, so we're helping the gut or the intestine to produce this neurotransmitter, serotonin. Whenever it's produced, it affects our mood. It gives us a good mood, a good feeling. So we call it the happy chemical, or the mood boosting chemical, the serotonin. Okay. So it's directly related, of course, other issues like doing exercise, being exposed to sunlight. They help in the production and the release of the serotonin, but it's mainly related to what we are eating. So, yeah.
Okay. Very, very interesting. And I know that the gut is also called the second brain. I would like to ask you a bit about why is it labeled like this? And what is actually the connection between gut and the brain?
Okay, well, as we know, the brain is made of nerve cells, and we have what's called a central nervous system, okay, yes, coming from the brain. So in the gut, it's called the enteric nervous system. Okay. I don't want to get so much into science and confuse people, but the gut consists of a lot of neurons or nerve cells, like almost 600,000 of neurons or nerve cells throughout the lining of the gut.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. So, and they send signals to the brain. And these nerve cells send signals to the brain much more than what the brain sends signals to the gut. Okay, via these nerve cells. Okay, mainly a nerve called vagus nerve. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's called a second brain because what the gut feels like, if we are eating unhealthy, we send signals. Mm-hmm. If we are having a problem in the gut microbia is a healthy bacteria found in our gut. It is mainly responsible for all kinds of diseases we are getting lately. So whenever we have imbalance in this gut healthy microbia, the nerve cells sense this and they send messages. So as if the gut is thinking, wow. It can sense things and send messages, and it sends messages to the brain. This is why, there's a really big connection between also, psychological issues and the second brain or the gut. Maybe I think we will ask about them throughout the interview or the podcast.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. What I wanted also to ask is, what are the exact signals that the gut is sending to the brain when this, for example, you brought into discussion this microbia, and if we have an imbalance, there is a signal. So what kind of signal, what should we be looking at?
Okay. Let me tell you something. When you have anxiety, it's always you feel something in your gut.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're anxious, and 60% of the people having anxiety, they have IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome problems, and they feel some pain, comfort. So whenever there's something wrong, something wrong in the balance, let's say, of the bacteria, the first part you feel it is in your gut. Whenever you're hungry, you feel it first in the gut. When the gut senses the hunger, it sends the signals to the brain. Okay, so this is really the relation. Everything is psychologically, when felt, it starts mainly in the gut. You feel the gut, and you send the signals to the brain. When you feel hungry, you feel it in the gut, and you send signals to the brain. So it's mainly hunger issues and psychological issues.
Like an anxiety disorder might be associated with an imbalance in the gut. Is that correct?
Yeah. Anxiety, yeah. As I said, like 60% of people suffering from anxiety, they suffer from also gut issues like the irritable bowel syndrome and many others.
Can the food that we eat influence a psychological disorder? Like, are there specific foods that could bring us to depression in long term, or how is this?
Well, based on recent and many clinical studies, it has been shown that eating junk food and food that is very high in sugar, very high in saturated fats, trans fats, and all the kind of unhealthy fats have been directly related to the depression. And, sometimes people with depression, they seek psychological help.
Yes.
And they don't really benefit because it's just related, sometimes you don't want to treat the symptoms. You want to treat
the cause.
Yeah, the cause.
The roots of the problem.
Yeah, and sometimes one of the causes of depression is bad eating habits.
Wow.
Yeah.
But we all have some kind of cravings or appetite for certain type of foods. So should we listen to these cravings and appetite?
Okay, now this needs a really huge answer.
Yes, I'm sure.
Whenever we're having craving, it could be one of two. It could be we might be having nutritional deficiencies, or we might let's say when we crave salty food, we might be dehydrated.
Okay.
We might be stressed out. Okay. Whenever we're craving sugar, we might be having deficiency in chromium. Our body might need magnesium, vitamin B. Okay. Or sometimes it's a health issue. Like if we're craving sugar a lot, we might be having insulin resistance.
Okay.
So craving, of course, tell us something about our bodies. Of course, it's it's the way of our body talking to us, communicating with us. So eventually it reveals something going on, and we have to figure out what is it. And when it comes to if we should listen to the cravings or no, for me, of course, I am with like going on a healthy diet plan. But whenever we're craving something, we have something in Arabic called I can't translate it, like everything forbidden or everything like you can't have. You're gonna be wanting it more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
it's tempting.
Yeah, it's more tempting. So you want it more. So whenever you're craving something, I'm really against forbidding it, because eventually, if you move on a strict diet, healthy diet, and let's say you're craving a certain type of chocolate, okay, you will be able to control it one tooth, and eventually you'll end up binging. You know what is binging? Binging is eating in an uncontrollable way. Okay, so you end up binging that food because you've been, trying to avoid it.
You hold it for so long that at some point, you release the beast.
Exactly. Yes. So for me, we can do something called 80-20, 80%, 20%.
Okay.
Whenever we're craving something, let's move on. Like, let's always try to achieve 80% of our eating habits to be healthy and within a diet plan. Okay. And let's give our bodies or our souls, this 20% to eat what we really are craving.
Okay.
This way we'll be still moving on a healthy lifestyle, because 80% is very good.
Yes.
And we won't reach a point where we are psychologically,
imprisoned.
Yeah, imprisoned with what we have. Because, most of the people who move on restrictive diets and try not to listen to their cravings, they end up having psychological problems with the food.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that might lead then to certain eating disorders long term.
Yeah, and you might be Like sometimes, our memory, sometimes we can relate the eating experience to the memory. This is why when we eat something at a point where we are happy, so we always relate it to being happy. So whenever like I eat this type of pizza, I remember that this is going to make me happy because, my mind is relating it to a happy experience.
Okay.
Same way when we are restricting what we want and we are trying to avoid it during a diet plan. So with time, whenever you hear a diet plan, you emotionally and psychologically get, frustrated, like, because it reminds you of days of, you were not allowed to eat, you were, so.
Okay. Is junk food like a serotonin booster for us? For why is this tendency? Because so many people like to have these kind of meals.
Let me tell you, serotonin production or release is eventually linked to the healthy eating habits.
Okay.
Yeah, not to the junk food.
Not to the junk.
Yeah, it's related more to whole grains, to good proteins, nuts, and fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
But usually, if we can also, when do we eat the junk food? We eat the junk food like when we are having a gathering with our friends, watching TV, having a movie night, like we get junk food, usually drinks and, there's chocolates and whatever junkies and chips or whatever. Or we eat it outside usually. Mainly it started like long time ago. We did not it's not like nowadays we order the junk food home.
True.
So we used to eat the junk food at restaurants, going out. You know what I mean? So this is why junk food is related to happy moments.
Okay.
So this is why in our memory, it's like imprinted that this junk food, moments gives us happy moments. It's because it started like that. Like we go out to restaurants either with our families, with our friends, on a date.
Yes, we relax.
Yeah. And we're eating the junk food because mainly most of the restaurants nowadays, it's now we're having restaurants serving healthy food. But back then, it wasn't really that much, spread out. It was mainly junkies.
Yes.
Yeah, and we used to go out just to have fun, friends, date, family. So this is why it became related. And with time, people started to be aware that eating healthy is better. So we go back to the point that people started to know that the junk foods are forbidden. So they started wanting it more, you know? Yeah.
Okay. So it's like a cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, not related to serotonin, no.
Can we say it's like a fake serotonin?
Yeah, we can say. Yeah, it's or maybe we are having the happy hormones or the happy chemicals not coming from the junk food, coming from the moments we are living and experiencing with the people we love, we like, Yeah, but the brain maybe just, mixed it up with the food we are eating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and you mentioned that actually the healthy food is the one boosting the real serotonin. And you mentioned there fruits, vegetables. Do you have some specific ones that are the top serotonin boosters?
For me, most of the anti-inflammatory food is what helps us in boosting also the serotonin.
Okay.
And the anti-inflammatory characteristics could be found mainly in all vegetable and fruits. But one of the best are the berries.
Okay.
So blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, even bananas, pineapples.
Okay.
Yeah, these are, like, for me, they are one of the best of ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these types of food might also help people with depression or people feeling low.
Yeah, of course, the anti-inflammatory food and eating healthy does help us help people in the depression. even vitamins have a role in the depression. Do you know some vitamin deficiencies might have a role in increasing the probability of having depression, or some vitamin supplements might aid in the depression treatment plan.
So I would like to ask if obesity and diabetes are diseases that are influenced by bad habits which origin from a mental health disorder.
Okay, so eventually, and of course, now let's obesity and diabetes.
Yes.
They come mainly could be genetically, okay?
Okay.
And they come from the bad eating habits.
Okay.
And bad eating habits could come from mental issues. So definitely it has an impact. But sometimes it's like it could be related to the mental health. Okay, like if we are in depression, if we have some mental issues, making emotional eating in a bad way, eventually it can lead to these diseases, you know.
Okay.
So what's the reason for the bad eating habits? There are plenty of reasons.
Okay.
But the reasons for these chronic diseases is the bad eating habits.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. Yeah. And you mentioned here also genetics. So can we link these chronic diseases with the eating habits of our ancestors? So if they were, for example, undernourished because of different reasons, and maybe this happened during many generations, can this influence someone to become obese? So maybe this is also like a protective way for the body to say, okay, I was undernourished for so many generations, so now I will try to store every single food for like survival reasons.
Okay. We have something called gene modification.
Okay.
So with the time and with years, the genes are always, some kind of genes are changing based on the environment. And one of the environment factors we're talking about is the nutrition part, or what we are eating. So eventually, what our old, parents, grandparents, or like in history, what they are eating might be affecting the genes and might be doing some modifications. And this could be, passed to the other generation. And especially when talking about obesity and diabetes, because they are, one of the main causes for them is heredity or genes or genetics. So yes, what they used to eat affects what our well-being nowadays. However, this genetic modification is reversible, okay? And if we eat in a healthy way, so we are able to reverse the effect of this gene modification when coming and talking about these diseases. So if I have a medical history of all my family had diabetes, and I control what I eat, the probability of me not getting diabetes is really high. Okay, so it really does affect what our ancestors used to eat, but what we eat also can like fight back this bad effect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's basically also our responsibility to form healthy eating habits and to have this, we can call it ambition, to overcome.
Yeah, this is what I always say, like before looking at your weight and before just being concerned about your weight, you have to be more concerned about your health. Like, talking about not just obesity and diabetes, let's talk about cancer.
Yes.
Like, do you know that all of us, most of us, we have cancer cells in our bodies? Okay. So cancer cells are ready to multiply to evolve and attack based also on what we eat. You know what I mean? So the way we are eating, it's either we're pushing the cancer cells or stopping it in a way. You know, at the end of the day, cancer cells, before getting to be cancer cells, they were regular cells, normal cells, okay? Based on some genes and on what we are eating, we are feeding, you know, like if we have a genetic history in the family of having a certain type of cancer, okay? So eating in a wrong way, we are, you know, feeding the cells to turn into cancerous cells.
Okay.
So this is, and at the same time, eating in a healthy way could stop this from happening. So it's not just it's also related, you know, to bigger diseases like cancer and much more, the way we are eating nowadays. So this is what I always tell people. We have to be aware of what we eat for our health, not just for the shape and for the figure and for the weight.
Yes. Okay. And talking about eating healthy, what does this exactly mean? So I'm sure there could be a very large discussion, and I'm sure it is like a plan that it's tailored to each individual. But in general terms, what does this refer to?
A bit shocking to say. It's eating everything.
Okay.
In moderation.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. For me, it's eating because when it comes to food, it's our body health and, as we said, mental health. Okay, so we should try to be non-restrictive, eat everything. When I say eat everything, like, you know, a healthy diet plan must consist of 40 to 50% of carbohydrates. This is what people first avoid when starting on a diet plan.
Yes. Or this keto diet.
Yeah, or these keto diets. Keto diet, by the way, is something, it's a treatment diet started for people with certain brain diseases or issues. It wasn't for weight loss, you know. So for me, a healthy diet is consisting of 50% carbohydrates, which is bread, rice, pasta, potatoes, corn, like everything that people now are going to get shocked. Like, what 50%? This is the ideal diet. And then 20 to 30% proteins, which is everything, meat, eggs, dairy, and then the remaining 20% of fat, of course, going for the healthy fat, which is mainly found in olive oil, avocados, and nuts and others. So when we talk about these three, so we're almost saying we have to eat everything. And I go back to the 80-20. Let's make 80% of our diet plan under these percentages. Okay. And let's give our bodies 20% of eating things we love, regardless of the macros and the micros in it. Okay. So this way we will end up eating everything we want in moderation, not restricting any type of food. Of course, we should focus on eating, going for better choices like whole grains, better than refined when it comes to carbohydrates. When it comes to proteins, of course, lean proteins, which is chicken, which is the fish, which is the beef. Like here, we eat different types of meat, red meat. So we can go like for the beef, it's lower in fat. So in every macro, we choose better options. Okay? I'm just against restricting a certain type of food, and never forget to eat 2 to 3 servings of fruits, and of course not less than 5 servings of vegetables.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, 2 liters of water, a minimum, sleeping, having good amount of sleep, 7 to 8 hours. Yeah, these are also associated with what we eat and the health outcomes. Yeah.
Okay. I really like this idea of eating everything in moderation. So basically, I can say I'm on a seafood diet because I see food and I eat it.
Oh, this is a nice one. Yeah. This is a nice one. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. this is how it should be.
Okay.
Yeah, this is how it should be. Yeah.
And as a conclusion, how can we form these healthy eating habits?
Okay.
Like, how can we set our mind to do so?
Okay. Now this is the hardest part. Okay, because I always tell my patients I can give you all the information, but if you don't have the will, you don't have the consistency. Like I cannot.
Correct.
Yeah, because you cannot follow people to their house. You cannot you cannot get inside their brain. You try your best to convince them. But what I tell people, and I am one of them, when I was doing a diet plan, we have to expect that we're gonna fail a lot. Like we're gonna start, and then we're gonna stop. We're gonna start. We're gonna fail. We're gonna start. This is normal. This is part of the process. So what I tell people, first of all, don't give up. It's okay. You're gonna fail a couple of times before you move on the right track. And I'm gonna tell you something. It needs an average of 60 days to build a habit.
Okay.
Whatever habit. Okay. So like and I tried it because I used to drink coffee with sugar.
Okay.
And I couldn't accept the flavor of the coffee without sugar. So I wanted to experience this 60 days. And I started forcing myself to drink the coffee without sugar. And after 60 days, now if you serve me any coffee with sugar, I cannot handle the flavor of it. I can't, I don't like it. I don't accept it.
So you educated your brain to accept this.
Yeah. And when you say 60 days, it's 2 months away.
Yeah.
It's not much.
It's not so much.
Yeah. So when you say, if I...
For a lifetime.
Yeah. So when I say let me just push myself a little bit, it's a matter of 2 months. And try to, I don't want to say force yourself, but kind of, force yourself.
Yes. I mean,
yeah, to move on certain habits just for 60 days. Just people 60 days away. You are 60 days away.
To a life-changing habit.
60 days away. So just try to force yourself these 60 days to adapt to new healthy eating habits. And after 60 days, it's going to be your lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you very much for all this valuable information. I'm sure that everyone will benefit from all this high value information. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for you.
See you next time.
Really a pleasure. Yes. Thank you so much.